everyone, this is Many Ninja speaking. As you probably can see from the bottom right corner there, we're doing something a little different today. The game itself is Shantae Risky's Revenge Director's Cut, but as that little icon in the corner indicated, I'm playing a Steam copy of this game, because technically it's the only version I can play and record at the same time. The only other alternative would be the iOS version, which, on top of touch controls, I wouldn't know how to record off that thing even if I did have it, and technically the original Risky's Revenge, which would be on the 3DS, which either A, would require me to have a 3DS, and also require me a way to record the thing off of, the 3DS itself. Of course, you can say, technically I could have emulated the thing, but I'm trying to step away from that, which is part of the reason why I've been doing stuff with the Dazzle, as some test footage not too long ago demonstrated. Generally, we're trying to do our actual physical versions of the game, not so much on emulation. Anywho, I actually did just a quick test in order to see how these things recorded. Everything seemed to be recording pretty well, but for the most part I'm generally blind as to where the thing goes beyond the introduction. So, just for the sake of it, we're actually going to erase the first game slot anyway, and begin a brand new game. Gonna move the mouse out of the way, just in case it was recording that. This actually would be the second Shantae game of the series. First one came originally on the Game Boy Color, around the end of the Game Boy Color lifeline for that matter. And it was, well, for those that knew about it, I kind of marveled at just how well animated everything was. Generally, it was, as one of the last games in the lifeline, one of the few titles that really pushed the limits on what the Game Boy Color could do. And kind of like what you can see here, even in that original port, or original game, Shantae was basically a perpetual motion machine. It never really stopped moving for any reason. And more of the same is carried over to this title, only with much more colors this time around. If WayForward knows how to do one thing really well, it's how to really well animate things. Alright, and we meet up with the familiar face with high-res art, because this is the director's cut. Some kind of an expo going on. And I'm guessing this means I need to go in the other direction. Now, you'll have to excuse me, I'm just getting used to the controls in this setup. Alright, in this case I'm actually, I managed to get a controller working on this thing. It took a little bit of work to get it working on Steam. Okay, a backdash function. She squeaks. Alright, that seems to be a dance-specific button, although I can't seem to control the directions. She seems to do a little dance on her own there. I imagine that'll come into play later. And the first significant item, the egg. I guess this means Bola will let me continue back into town at this point. Anyway, just getting back to what I was originally saying, the game series originally started off over on the Game Boy Color. Really well animated game. Actually, rather nice title. I had to play that one emulated, unfortunately, because in the original heyday when the game came out, I didn't have a Game Boy Color to play with, nor any real way to buy it. At the point, I was kind of a little short on funds. And unfortunately, after the fact, the game price exploded to ridiculous amounts. I'd say look on eBay, but really don't. It's actually quite depressing how much some people want to charge for this game, or the original title. You have to forgive me if I'm kind of skipping through the text prompts. I did technically see this in the earlier playthrough when I was just kind of testing the controls and how things were recording. So basically this is mostly just an introduction to get you the general plot of everything. Gramps finds something a little more important than he was originally trying to let on. But of course, Shantae is a little slow on the uptake at first. This is the most still you'll see Shantae for the most part, unless she happens to be completely KO'd, by the way. She's technically not moving, but there are a few flickering pixels on her hair and her pants for that matter. Also, on this side note, I'll need to double check once I got a picture of Bolo again. Ooh, lamp. Yeah, but Bolo. Okay, technically it's covered by a headband there. Okay, Sky has... Yeah, I think the only character that doesn't have eyebrows drawn where they would be visible would be Shantae herself. Just a little quick something I did pick up on. Feels a little weird. Yeah, even Risky has eyebrows. Yet they're not drawn on Shantae for some reason. Wait, never mind, there we go. They were just off screen. Or underneath her tiara for the most part, it seems. In case you're wondering which one's more absurdly animated between Risky and Shantae, I'd have to say it's probably a tie. As a side note, speaking of Shantae in general, as you probably noticed if you look at the art for the original title compared to this title, at this point Pirate's Curse is available on the 3DS as well. And for what's been seen out of the currently available HD Half Genie title, which I don't remember if they have a name for it yet, Shantae's design ends up changing at least a little bit in terms of either her general appearance or at least her clothing in every game she's appeared in up to this point. Just a little something curious I wanted to point out there. I wonder if anyone else picks up why this line is funny. I imagine, Caddy, if you're seeing this, you're getting a chuckle of this as much as I am right now. It's time for revenge, so let's attack aggressively. Needs more spread gun though. Thankfully, it's not as hard as that particular series though, otherwise you'd have one-hit deaths. Her backdash seems the longer you hold it, the longer it can go back. Though I don't think it's quite as abusable as something like a Symphony of the Night backdash. Alright. I think that was the third hit, so yep, that's tutorial boss taken care of. And plot relevance brought up, because as if it wasn't already obvious that the lamp, which is a stereotypical genie's lamp, wasn't important. everyone has to be reminded that, oh yeah, I stole this thing for a reason. Oh, cutscene. This is a weird thing. You don't see it on camera. It's not recording that part. But there's a lot of messages that prompts that seem to pop up when you're doing Steam stuff. I don't know what it says. I got a new item in my inventory. First of all, what earned that item? Second of all, what inventory? This Steam thing is new and confusing to me. Almost as confusing as Mayor Scuttlebutt there. Some things were not meant to be seen in high definition. The mayor was one of them. My correction. That is the most still you will see Shantae throughout this entire game. I like the perplexed look, I'll give him that. Gramps is being less than cooperative, a little less than forthcoming, until of course the lamp has to be involved and complicated in some way or another. Dark power, basically. Yeah, the lamp is bad times. Probably one of the nicest changes I've seen from the original Shantae animation to this game's Shantae animation is one second, I'll have to get Gramps back on screen. Yeah, there's a lot more in terms of I believe it's referred to as subpixel animation. Namely how the shading changes in order to imply more movement than there really is in the sprite. It's more evident on things like Gramps' jacket, his shoes actually show a bit of it. As well as his general hair. It's a little harder to tell on Shantae's case because she's perpetually bouncing around to the point where there's more general movement. But overall, the series has always been really well known for its animation. Alright, the town itself. Nice and colorful. My path's being blocked. You'll forgive me if I forego the introduction town exploration. Because, like I said, I did just a quick bit of test recording to make sure everything was recording there. And when I was kind of going through the initial view of just talking to everyone in town, it took, give or take, half an hour to kind of find things around. And I don't want to subject you all to that. So what we're going to do, we're going to call this... Oh, wrong building. There we go, that's the save room. We're going to call this take 1 or recording 1. That's the talk button. I'm going to save right now. And we're going to call that a wrap for the first official start of what's probably going to be a blind run of Risky's Revenge Director's Cut. And I think that'll be my next take on Retro Ninja Gaming here. Alright everyone, I'm going to call this a video for now, but thank you all for watching. Be taking care and catch you all later. And actually, maybe I need to correct that. This might not be a Retro Ninja Gaming thing, but this will definitely be a thing, a little ongoing series on the side there. As in terms of Retro Ninja Gaming, there is one more little side note, one last revisit to Return of Double Dragon, as I actually got a physical copy of the card very recently, actually yesterday, and based on some feedback I got in one of the earlier videos of a playthrough of that game, playing as Billy, Retro Shinobi happened to mention that there were a few changes when it comes to playing with Jimmy in that game, that when I did a little bit of a test run, I could see that it actually did change up the gameplay enough where I actually will be doing probably a little bit later in this week, one last visit to Return of Double Dragon, Jimmy%. That's what we're going to do there, ladies and gentlemen. So until that point, thank you all for watching. Join me next time as I'll either be putting up that video or we'll be doing some more Risky's Revenge. Take care.